Testing. Can you hear me? Hello, my name is Malcolm Rawlings. I'm the minister here at the Brighton Uniting Church. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And good to also acknowledge Pastor Tim and some of the members from the Warradale Lutheran Church and people from other places and engagement coming here to listen and be entertained and amazed by Leigh and Rachel. We give thanks to God for your willingness to use your gifts and talents. Amen. Practicality, if you do wish to use the toilets, you need to leave the building through the door you came in, walk down past the garden, through the gate, and in the door on the left, and then you'll find the sign for the toilets past there. That's from me. It's time to welcome Leigh initially, and then Rachel, and let us just acknowledge their gifts to us today.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This turned on. I'll get there. I want to acknowledge the Kaurna people of this area, the traditional owners on this unceded land. They carry a hard history, and let's work together towards a real reconciliation down the track. This song came out of NAIDOC week for a worship the Sunday at the end of NAIDOC week, and came out of watching a video from Auntie, the name's slipping my mind, is it Rosemary Ann Ungenmere? I've got that, it's a little bit wrong. She's from Daly River. She's a Catholic woman. And also from Auntie Denise Champion, who's a Uniting Church woman. And they have this just quiet, deep wisdom about land and about tranquility. And when I first sang this song, I hadn't asked for permission to sing their ideas in the song, but since then I have asked permission of both of those, and they have approved it with appreciation. So the image that stuck with me was in grief. Auntie Rose talked about just going out in country and walking slowly, just being in it, in country. So that appears in this song as well. And Auntie Denise's idea was a word called anadich, something meaning something that's just the way it is. Just looking for just quiet acceptance. Do not hurry the river, move as fast as it goes. Do not hurry the sunrise, wait for children to grow. Wait for new understanding, year on year coming near. Spend some time moving slowly, God's way soon will be clear. Spirit seen in her peoples, kinship, totem and clan, stewards caring for country, planet, water and land. Every square kilometre, tended year after year. We are one with creation, it's no burden to care. Practice deep inner listening, notice things as they are. Find your quiet, still awareness. Find God's love everywhere. Find the Spirit in country. Hear the voice of the deep. Walk the footsteps of Jesus. Love the company he keeps. Here we stand at the crossroads. Creation longs to be heard. Following our ancestors, finding tracks in the dirt. The loudest voices of country on this perilous road. Jesus, walk alongside us, help us carry the load. Keep the campfire burning, let the stories be told. Walk with pride on your country, let the message unfold. Tell how Jesus was broken and rose to dance on the sand. He has always been with us on this wide sacred land. Tell how Jesus was broken and rose to dance on the sand. He has always been with us on this wide sacred land. I was really enchanted by Sydney Carter, who would write songs of faith from these unexpected angles. They weren't the sort of things you'd necessarily expect to hear in church because they were from the unexpected angles. And that was part of the inspiration for this song. It wasn't the only thing, but Sydney Carter came to Adelaide and he ran a workshop up in the Anglican Church in Collinswood by the ABC studios. It was a songwriting workshop, I think, and there were about 12 of us in this room. I expected a whole church or a hall full of 200 people, but it was just a few of us. I felt very, very honoured to be there, very privileged. It's a Good Shepherd song. I am the Good Shepherd, I'll watch when you're weary. Through each night as you're sleeping, beside you I'll lie. I'll share every tear with you, stand with you in your fear, walk in your dreaming and sing in your day. I am the Good Shepherd, the weakest I favour, the smallest of all is the greatest, I say. I'll risk all I am for you, take on disgrace for you, rather than have you go wandering away. I am the Good Shepherd, though can't make you linger, I'd break every rule for you if you should stray. Down to the depths with you, give all I am for you, lay down my life for you here every day. I am the Good Shepherd, I'm there when you're dying, through heartache and stress away. And when life is over, it's time for another, I'll lift you like infant, clean out of the grave. I am the Good Shepherd, I'll love you forever, till heaven has come down and love has, and earth is made new. Come live in this world with me, love is your destiny. Darkness has faded and morning's in view. used to run foster care camps for pre-adolescent boys through emergency foster care. At that stage, they had offices up right next to the boys' prison at McGill. And sometimes I would have to go out to the parks area to pick up children, and I suffered a bit of culture shock, I've got to say. You'd go into streets to pick up boys there, and streets and streets of housing trust homes, almost like a tornado had gone through, with kicked in doors and broken windows and car wrecks in the front yard and so on and so forth. And cyclone wire fences you'd think would be fairly indestructible, but they'd also be that they had lost their wire that would keep them onto the railings and so on. And it got me thinking about incarnational theology, with Jesus living amongst us, especially those who are struggling. Hence this song. Jesus lives in western suburbs, works all day on factory floor, proud to make an honest living. That's what hands and feet are for. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Jesus lives in western suburbs, public health's the only choice. Violence comes in desperation. Jesus lives without a voice. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Jesus lives in western suburbs, goes to church when friends are dead, brings back all the painful memories. Couldn't go again, he said. Jesus lives in western suburbs, private schools remain a dream. Kids go off for local schooling, pay for what you get, it seems. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Jesus lives in western suburbs, jobs are scarce and hard to get, sacrifices pride for welfare, finds it hard, but kids are fed. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Jesus lives in third world dwellings, health is poor and life is cheap, victim of our mad consumption. Jesus lives upon the street. Jesus, sign of contradiction, one with God and lives our pain, takes our place and knows our dying, brings us back to life again. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Jesus changed the unfair structures, soften hearts and turn us round, make us angry at injustice, give us hope for where you're found. Jesus lives in western suburbs, works all day on factory floor, proud to make an honest living. That's what hands and feet are for. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Hey, there's a couple out the front there. Can someone just go out and let those people know they're welcome? Someone's there at the door. This is a going out song, a short song, only 3 verses in my congregation up at Bridgewater. They have a special liking for the going out songs, and it can't be too long because service is already finished. 3 short verses. May your journey be a mirror on the love that you have known. May your kindness be a lighthouse for all. May the strength of your compassion show that we are not alone. And may your going bring love into lives. May your waiting and your longing be fulfilled in darkest night. May your aching lead to finding God's grace. May the silence of the mystery lead you closer to the light. And may your going bring love into life. May the suffering of the servant give your courage on the way. May forgiveness be the wind in your sails. May your life be worth the living now until the final day. And may your going bring love into life. Thank you. Many of my songs come out of a particular need that's coming up, and people have kind of quietly suggested something, suggested an idea, or maybe they've not been so quiet in suggesting the idea. And it's quite an honour to be asked to write for an occasion, or even hinted at. You know, sometimes people say, "Can you sing something?" And I go looking and I can't find what I'd like to sing, so I think, "Oh, I'll just write something." And this kind of fits into both categories because no one said write something, but I took it upon myself. St Stephen's Lutheran Church, Wakefield Street, has this Good Friday tradition of having a passion drama. And it's been going for 40, 50 years. I'm not sure. It goes on and on. And history forms us, you know. And St Stephen's is a sign that the independent history of St Stephen's Lutheran congregation still lives in that lay people were heavily involved and were always doing creative things, and it's still the way. And lots of people are involved, and it's kind of like that's just what you do. Wonderful thing. So it's this is a Holy Week come Easter song. So near yet so far, he walks on alone. It's a hard road to glory. It's the cruelest of stories. So near yet so far, with the crying and aching on the road of salvation. It's the weight of the cross, it's the grief and the loss, it's the weight of the cross, so near yet so far. So near yet so far, his friends couldn't see just where he was leading and what he was teaching. So near yet so far, they had wanted a leader, someone big just like Caesar, but he just wouldn't fight when they came in the night. Oh, they came in the night. So near yet so far, still we see Jesus drawing nearer. Come what may, his arms are open wide. We see his love ever clearer every day, out in this world and inside. His footprints are there right beside us. So near yet so far, right here at this time. This life that we're living, you and me, we need changing. So near yet so far, though we see we're still blinded, for ourselves single-minded. Though we trust in the light, we're still lost in the night. Oh, we're lost in the night. So near yet so far, still we see Jesus drawing nearer. Come what May, his arms are open wide. We see his love ever clearer every day, out in this world and inside. His footprints are there right beside us, so near yet so far. He walks on alone. It's a hard road to glory. It's the cruelest of stories, so near yet so far. With the crying and aching on the road of salvation, it's the weight of the cross, it's the grief and the loss, it's the weight of the cross, so near yet so far. Thank you. Thanks for opening your church for this music this afternoon. I got to know Rachel maybe 2 years ago from her web page. Rachel lives in Sydney, and she was giving away a couple of free songs on a web page, and I thought that sounds like a good deal, and I was rather amazed at the quality of the songs, so I ended up buying a CD, or did I download it? I'm not sure. And so we kept talking and dreamt about the idea of Rachel coming to Adelaide again. She had been to Adelaide for some fringe festivals, getting back a decade or so, and so she's done a handful of concerts from last May up at Bridgewater, and one last week and one last night. So it's lovely to have Rachel here. She's an amazing singer. You're in for a good time. Plus, you know how Judy Small wrote, I don't think she still writes, maybe she does, but I don't think she's recording. Judy Small, that folky name, she writes from a woman's perspective often, and I know my wife Tanya found her songs almost transformative because she was hearing her story being reflected in the singers, and I think you'll find that with Rachel coming up. Thanks, Ron, on sound today. Good on you. Thank you. Thanks, Malcolm and Tim, and thanks for coming. I want to sing a Christmas song which really started back in about 1980 because I was teaching in a primary school, Salisbury North. It was December. It was before air conditioners in rooms, and we were perspiring. And my job in the school was working with some kids who needed some physical coordination, also working with some bright kids, and also doing some music. And when I'd ask the kids, what shall we sing? You know, what Christmas carols shall we sing? The only songs that would come to mind for the children were the winter ones with, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed and so on. And so that sowed a little spark for me, and I got into writing that first collection called Christmas in the Scrub and Donkey Donkey and Colours of Christmas. But then a few years later, people kept talking about, well, it'd be good to write something a bit more urban. So I took up that challenge as well and came up with a whole range. The shearers were shearing at... This feels wrong. I need to be in a key of F. That'll make a difference. One missing capo. The shearers were shearing at Bethlehem. The men were all at the shed. Stranger asked for shelter of them, for his wife on an ass he led. The rep looked him over, his head on one side, like an emu out in the scrub. When the stranger said his wife was denied accommodation at the pub. Well, the girl was pregnant, well, what the use? Us blokes could read the signs. They kicked her out when she couldn't produce respectable marriage lines. Well, that was all right. Why, every tramp, white or yellow or black, was welcome to meals and a place to camp in the shearing sheds out back. Ya-da-dai, la-da-dai, la-da-dai, da-dai, ya-da-dai, da-dai, da-dai. Now the presser, he pulled out a butt of wool to the coziest nook in the shed. He said, "Here, grab yourselves a pack of peace, make yourselves a bed." That night we awoke to a racket and ramp and wondered what could it be. It sounded like an Aborigines camp, a night of corroboree. Well, you've heard the music those Beatles played. There's a bit of a hint as to when this verse was written by Shearer, by the way. He was an elderly guy and he sent these words to me. I put it to music. Let me get back into it. You've heard those music those Beatles played. Well, toss in a harp and a horn, and you've got the racket those angels made the night that Christ was born. While angels raved on about peace on earth, our shearers went back to bed. For stranger things than a saviour's birth have happened in shearing sheds. La-da-dai, 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 la-da-dai. There were shepherds, of course, all around the place. Now these blokes, they don't see much of life. And they gathered around and they lent a hand to help out the stranger's wife. 3 Afghan camel men came from afar. They were wise, so said the boss. They had followed a course neath a shining star just east of the Southern Cross. They were generous coves too, well, I'll be bound. They gave him some toys and a bell, and some baby clothes they had hawked around and hadn't been able to sell. Well, squatters wrote the Bible, you can tell by the rhymes, and some of these blokes insist, except in the course at shearing time, that a shearer doesn't exist. And they reckon our shearers, because of the strikes, are the lowest types on earth. And they wouldn't connect the likes of us to the scene of a saviour's birth. Born in a manger, is that what you say? Oh, mates, that's a load of bull. He wasn't born in a manger of hay, but a bin of merino wool. La-da-dai, 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 da-dai, la-da-dai, la-da-dai. Yeah, he still carried the bitterness, I think, from the shearers to the landowners or the squatters who kind of ruled the industry, and the shearers were screaming out for better pay. And I think that was back in the 1920s, and he still remembered that story. One more song on guitar, and then I've got a couple on piano, and then I'm out of here. No, I'll still be here, really. I want to hear Rachel again. Some years ago at a folk festival, there was this Melbourne guy. He was from Ireland. His name was Enda Kenny, which since then there's been an Enda Kenny who's been the Prime Minister of Ireland, but it was a different Enda. And he wrote this wonderful song about the colours of Christmas. Sorry, the colours of Australia. Getting confused with a song that I wrote called Colours of Christmas. And being a good Celt, he's written it in an open tuning. No, it's called Dadgad, D-A-D-G-A-D. I don't know, I just have this feeling that it takes somebody who's coming in new to Australia to see these colours and to write artistically about it. We see them all the time and perhaps don't think of it as special, but put it in art and you see it anew with fresh eyes. It's a Cape Tribulation pastel sunrise, Whitsundays turquoise bay, mustard yellow wattle and the bottle brushes red. It's the green that falls from, it's the rain that falls from skies of brolga grey. It's a creamy coloured steam of eyes as chimneys, eucalypt of dusty green and grey. No brush could ever paint its colours in a lifetime, the colours of Australia today. It's the haunted blackened embers of a bushfire. It's the orange of a field of burning cane. It's the green that turns to gold out on the wheat field. It's the pink and grey galah out on the plains. It's 1,000 different shades of Mallee sunset. It's the colours that are never seen by day. The fish out on the reef, living coral beneath, the colours of Australia today. It's the dusty powdered ochre of the dreaming. It's the snow-white Franklin River running wild. It's the lorikeet with colours of the rainbow that looks like it's been painted by a child. It's the jaundiced yellow river full of topsoil when its trees have all been taken away. We're paying for our past, the colours fading fast, the colours of Australia today. It's a Cape Tribulation pastel sunrise, Whitsundays turquoise bay, mustard yellow wattle and the bottle brushes red. It's the rain that falls from skies of brolga grey. It's the creamy coloured steam of Isa's chimneys. It's the eucalypt of dusty green and grey. No brush could ever paint its colours in a lifetime, the colours of Australia today. Thank you. One of my favourite. Favourite seems like a wrong word. One of my passions is wanting to be real with issues of faith, and I just don't feel certain all the time. I reckon for me, faith just raises questions, which I find healthy because questions lead to something better, to an answer, even if it's not tomorrow or next year. Rachel was talking about Nick Cave earlier on. It was Nick Cave you were talking about, wasn't it, Rachel? Yes. Yeah. And Nick Cave was saying something like, for him, faith is not about answers, it's about the questions. And I reckon that's a profound statement that opens up conversations and debates and life journeys. I've been involved since 2020, towards the end of the shutdowns in Adelaide. I was asked to be part of this committee in the Uniting Church with UC Uniting Church, Family and Ministry Services, I'm not sure. And Reverend Brian Polkinghorne was the president with his wife that year, and for 2 years. And he had volunteered to create some videos for the churches looking at climate change. And so our task was to write the script and then record these videos over however long it took. It was perhaps 3 months plus with many meetings. And so there was a lot of reading on climate change issues and graphs and data and reading climatologists and so on. And I've found a passion there. I found a passion to tell that story, that to remind us all that we're on a very difficult road at the moment, and we aren't making changes anywhere near as quickly as the United Nations would want us. I'm not saying Australia is alone in that. The whole world is just not making the changes fast enough. The other night at a Tim Winton book talk at Elder Hall, talking about his new book called Juice, he said, people in 200 years are going to call us monsters because we knew the risks, we saw the trends, and yet we did so little about it. The premise of the book is that people at that time have to live south of the Tropic of Capricorn or north of the Tropic of Cancer, and those people who are in those safe areas still have to live underground because it's so hot and dry. Anyway, this song deals with grief and uncertainties and doubts, and we have death and we pray for healing and it doesn't happen. All those sorts of dilemmas. Definitely need the words for this because I've never taken the time to memorise these. Many days are heavy borne when fate seemed cast in stone, when buildings fail and faith bleeds dry, it seems we're on our own. We sit on shaking ground and the rescue just won't come. When love turns to dust and the ash keeps falling, Jesus, help us stand. Hold these trembling hands. All the days unanswered needs are the grief of every night, and the prayers that float across the hills seem to echo out of sight. Do you care for those in need? Are you still upon the cross? Or won't you awake to your whole creation, falling on its knees? Won't you hear our plea? With bleeding feet on coldest clay, the way is hard to tread. With silence from our suffering God, it's a fearful way ahead. In the tragedy and pain, can we bear a moment more? The stars fall from high and the heavens are shaken. Jesus, are you there? Won't you hear our prayer? Thank you. Here's another example of what comes out of a particular occasion coming up. This is maybe 4 years old, 3 years old, I'm not sure. I wrote it for another Good Friday Passion drama at St. Stephen's Lutheran Church. It's called Every Single Stone is a Broken Stone. I went looking for an aphorism on Google, and I started with every rock's. No, that was it. I found every rock's a broken rock, because I was trying to join the idea of breaking rocks, and anyway, every rock's a broken rock didn't fit the front line, so I changed it. It's a Maundy Thursday / Peter song. Every single stone's a broken stone. Each sunset peak and gravel road, each jeweled ring and silver load, every single rock is etched in grey. Peter's in the courtyard by the fire. His light, his hope, now stands condemned. He can't admit he's more than friend. Peter's in the courtyard by the fire. But Jesus knew before the dawn, before the cock would crow, that Peter would deny the Son of God. And as the ancient city lay in sleep, the pieces kept on moving. Peter shakes his head when he's accused. They see right through his frantic lies, the sweating palms, the lowered eyes. Peter shakes his head when he's accused. Peter's in the courtyard. No, he's not. Peter's in the courtyard with the hounds. Like circling dogs, they curse and scowl. With scent of blood, they snap and howl. Peter's in the courtyard with the hounds. But Jesus knew before the dawn, before the cock would crow, that Peter would deny the Son of God. as the ancient city lay in sleep, the pieces kept on moving. Peter says he doesn't know the man. In forensic voice, he swears his oaths. In fear for life, he rips his clothes. And Peter says he doesn't know the man. Every one of us has feet of clay. We swear our case we can't conceal. We're just like him. We squirm and squeal. Every one of us has feet of clay. But Jesus knew before the dawn, before the cock would crow, that Peter would deny the Son of God. And as the ancient city lay in sleep, the pieces kept on moving. Broken is enough for you and me, for Jesus heals each broken soul, forgives us all and makes us whole. Broken is enough for you and me. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do a little short changeover. It'll probably take about 2 minutes. Stick around, and there's going to be a little bit of a break after Rachel's first set of songs. Thanks again.
Thanks, Leigh. I don't even think we need 2 minutes. No?
Are we done?
I'm here already. How are we? Good. I can hear people singing along with Leigh, so I think there's some fans in the building of your songs. The only person I expect to be singing along with mine now is this gentleman here. I don't know your name, but he tells me that he's been researching me on YouTube. So I said, I expect those tunes to be memorised. In this room I am meditating. The bass outside is penetrating these walls. I feel it call me to the band on stage of old men and the gathering crowd of young Zen. Da, la, da, da, da. Strong on the grass before me, and countless souls from the dust restoring their worth. And it returns me to an ancient place of the heart, a star shining out from my past, and I'll run towards it now in rapid desperation. And I grasp it now with fierce determination. Oh, you are mine again. Oh, it's time. dig through my yesterdays to the years behind me, I know my heart will find me here in the dark. And like a spark will stretch and burst my skin and make its home here again. And I run towards it now in rapid desperation, and I grasp it now with fierce determination. Oh, you are mine again. Oh, it's time. And I run towards it now in rapid desperation, and I grasp it now with fierce determination. Oh, you are mine again. Oh, you are mine again. Oh, you are mine again. Oh, it's time. Thank you. This space has quite a nice acoustic, really, doesn't it? It really does. I can hear it from back here because the speakers are in front of me, so I don't really have fold back for my voice. So what I'm hearing is the echo. Lovely. These are some infamous words that I rewrote. Blessed be that child who roams alone, a playground safer than her home. Blessed be the child who never fits, clothes handed down and worn and split. Blessed be the child who overhears stuff she shouldn't hear for years. Blessed be the child who's never heard "and I love you," a kind word. Blessed be. It is theirs. It is theirs. The kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed be the woman too scared to stay, to pour her back and walk away. Blessed be that man who cries at night, fed up from playing the white knight. Blessed be the woman on the beach who fears what judging eyes may see. Blessed be the man in line for the dole who struggles daily to fill whole. Blessed be. It is theirs. It is theirs. Blessed be the one who can't believe in ancient stories or the creeds, yet who is the one to stop and feed the naked, hungry, and the weak. Blessed be the one who gives their life to free another one from strife. Blessed be the one who tills the dirt and treads lightly on the earth. Blessed be. Thank you. Any women in here of the bra burning variety? I'll take that as a yes. This next one is my feminist anthem, if you like, a song about the messy, authentic, contradictory thing it is to be a woman, or, well, really what it is to be a human. But sometimes we women are not allowed to be messy and complicated. Men are. Of course, I'm familiar with Jane Eyre. Virginal, perfect Jane Eyre. But complicated, destructive. What's his name? Mr. Rochester with the wife in the attic, and he's allowed to be complicated. She's not. Elizabeth Bennet, perfect. In every way intelligent. Mr. Darcy, I mean, really, if he didn't look like Colin Firth, oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Been surveying my skin from left to right, hiding it up like a garment to the light, wondering how it might feel to step in, to wear it out for a spell, and raise some hell. Like a lioness bred in captivity, I've been roaming the borders and longing to see all the things that my life could have been had I never been tamed, been unashamed. Oh, but good, I was raised to be a good girl, daughter, sister, wife, and mother. Should always be what I should be, towing that old line like any other. Oh, but dangerous is the woman who is true and deep and real. Oh, brave is the woman unafraid to feel. I'm tired of being thankful for all that I have, but then told to ignore all my deepest imaginings of all I could be if I were free. Oh, but good, I was raised to be a good girl, daughter, sister, wife, and mother. And should always be what I should be, towing that old line like any other. Oh, but dangerous is the woman who is true and deep and real. Oh, brave is the woman unafraid to feel. girl, daughter, sister, wife, and mother. And should always be what I should be, towing that old line like any other. Oh, but dangerous is the woman who is true and deep and real. Oh, oh, brave is the woman unafraid to feel. Thank you. Now, at the risk of referencing literature again, who here has read Great Expectations? Great Expectations? Way back? A few? Okay. I had to do it at school in my final year, and I remember it being a little bit of a slog to read, really. Particularly the middle section, for those of you who are familiar with the book. But one of the characters of the book that stayed with me over the years and that I have never managed to forget was the character of Miss Havisham. So for those, I see a few nods. For those of you that have read the book, Miss Havisham is basically on the day of her wedding, she gets up, she puts her wedding dress on, she has one shoe on, the house is prepared for the wedding, there's the wedding cake on the table and the presents and everything's ready to go. And exactly 20 minutes to 9, she receives a letter from her fiancé dumping her. So for every day of her life from that point onwards, she sets all of the clocks in her house to 20 to 9. She gets up, she puts her wedding dress on, she puts one shoe on, and by the time our main character, who's a little boy, comes and meets her in the story, she's, according to Charles Dickens, she's an old woman, which makes me think my age, maybe, in Charles Dickens terms. But the dress is yellow, the lace is yellow from the years. The cake on the table is mouldy with rats running through it. There's cobwebs everywhere. And she's in this sort of arrested state of grief, really. And I think that's why, I don't know, I think that's why her character has resonated through time, because it kind of makes sense, really. If something terrible happens and you stop time, moving on almost feels like telling the world that what happened to you is okay. But stopping time kind of not only does it tell the world that it's not okay, but I feel like maybe there's a logic between, if the terrible thing happened at 20 to 9 and I keep it 20 to 9, I'm only a minute away from fixing it, as opposed to allowing time to go on, and maybe as time goes on I become less likely to change circumstances. I don't know. Either way, her story, I think, resonates with me on a profound level, so I wrote it in a song. Morning light through my window, fingers reaching toward the bed, awakening the dust, but not the dead. Be still, my heart is frozen like lead. The life I live in my own head. Every day, same old story. Every day, same old routine. This is a space I like to call the in-between, where white turns beige and color fades to gray and green, and I sit and dwell on things that might have been. Long time since someone loved me, long time since someone touched me, long time since someone held me in the night. No longer here, I am suspended in white. I am before that clock said 20 to 9. Say that there's a second chance at time. Say that I can freeze the frame and hit a rewind. 'Cause I can't move on. Oh, my chance will be gone to be back before that clock said 20 to 9. Like some Victorian beauty queen, plump and ripe and rosy-cheeked, how very young we women reach our peak. In one brief moment, we are hollow-eyed and weak, facing down the lonely and the bleak. How fast the world forgets, how it ushers us along, like some geriatric man whose mind is gone. But my heart still groans, for on that day you did me wrong, and I sit and wait for our wedding banquet song. Long time since someone loved me, long time since someone touched me, long time since someone held me in the night. No longer here, I am suspended in white. I am before that clock said 20 to 9. Say that there's a second chance at time. Say that I can freeze a frame and hit a rewind. 'Cause I can't move on. Oh, my chance will be gone to be back before that clock said 20 to 9. I still dream of him, I still wear his ring. Its grip grows ever closer on my skin. And if I burn with this house and everything, his oath would be the one remaining thing. Chance at time. Say that I can freeze a frame and hit a rewind. 'Cause I can't move on. Oh, my chance will be gone to be back before that clock said 20 to 9. To be back before that clock said 20 to 9. I am back before that clock said 20 to 9. So I have a 5-year-old little girl called Amy. And when she was about 6 months old, for the first time I decided to do a bit of a clear out. And I got a whole bunch of the old, the quadruple zeros and the triple zeros and packed them all in a garbage bag ready to take to Lifeline. And I think she and my husband must have been out at the time, and I was home alone, and I had the bag there, and I sat down on the lounge and I had this huge sort of heaving cry, because I think it was the first time that it had genuinely occurred to me that she wasn't going to stay a baby forever. And even now, my husband frequently looks through videos that he's made over the years of her, and I find it quite painful, if I'm honest, to look at the 2-year-old version of her and the 3-year-old version and the 4-year-old version, and to see that those versions of her are gone. And yet at the same time, of course, I celebrate her development. But this song is, I guess, about the grief of being a parent. It's called Loving You. My daughter tells me this is my favourite song of hers. Her favourite song of mine, because she says it's about her. You can tell what developmental stage she's in. I cry like a baby every time you grow a size. Every time I see more understanding in your sapphire eyes. Now you crawl, you walk, you run, but you've only just begun on a journey that is yours and yours alone. Loving you is letting go, one baby step at a time. May I always remember the days I called you mine. I cried like a baby first time I held you in my arms. From that very first moment, you had lured me with your charms. You slept, you squeaked, you sighed. You kept me up the whole first night, marveling that I could call you mine. But loving you is letting go, one baby step at a time. May I always remember the days I called you mine. May I rush to your aid when others shoot through. May I step to the side when you need me to. May I fill and not drink from your cup as the winds of the heavens dance between us. Loving you at a time. May I always remember the days I called you mine.
Thank you. So, I'm going to delve, not this time into literature, but into mythology. Are we familiar with the myth of the sirens? Yes, okay. So, for those unfamiliar, the sirens were these sort of female-like mythical creatures, this is in Greek mythology, that would sing on the rocks by the ocean. And their song was apparently so seductive and so beautiful that sailors that went past, if they heard the song, they were drawn in by it and could not help but be lured to their deaths. And so Ulysses, one of our great Greek heroes, strapped himself to the mast at the front of his ship so that he could, avoid the temptation of the sirens and get past alive. I think as well that men were supposed to put wax or something in their ears to stop them hearing the song. Anyway, I was thinking about this myth and I thought, gosh, that sounds familiar. The whole, she made me do it. I couldn't help myself. I was helpless to resist her charms, and it's all her fault. And I thought, well, what if I told the story of the sirens, but I told it from the perspective of a heartbroken and betrayed siren?
Turning, wave on a rocky shore, broken, cracked, and subsumed. Hoping, wanting, you leave your ship behind. To be consumed. And you told me my voice was your calling. You whispered my song was your want. You said though the gods would tease and taunt, well, blessed be the day they sent you my way, softly creeping like waking from a dream. You grieved the world you left behind, turning, raging, came your pointed blame for your capture and for your bind. And you told me my voice is destruction. You shouted, my song is accursed. You said for the ailing a driving force. But where was your restraint? I will not be blamed. space where you slept. Sighing, seeping, growing and oblique, wilting now all that you kept. Did you think I might sing for my pleasure? Did you consider you had a choice? It was you alone that set your course for your wretched remains. I will not be blamed.
Thank you. I'm going to do one more song, and then we're going to have a little short break, and then I'm going to come back and do another little shorter set just to close us off for today. But during the break, there's an enormous favour that you could do me. When I was booking tickets for this weekend, I didn't get a baggage allowance for my flight home, and so that I don't have to leave my CDs at Leigh and Tanya's house. Please come and buy a CD. I'm selling them. They're $20 each, 2 for $30. But look, I'm so keen to lighten my load that if you want all 4, I'll give them to you for $50. If you do the maths, that's pretty good. And then and I'll even throw in, if there's one in your size, I have a few T-shirts. So for those of you that want all 4 CDs and a T-shirt for $50, that will help me. But yes, in other words, you're obviously very welcome to buy a CD if you would like one. I also have a little book that's like a mailing list. I would love you to add your email address so that when Leigh organises for me to come back inevitably to Adelaide again, and I'm performing somewhere nearby, that way I can let you know about it. So please add your email address to the list. Okay, this song that I'll close this set off with is called Wired and Awake, which it's hard to be sometimes at this time on a Sunday afternoon, after a lovely lunch. Who made the cheesecake? I had 2 pieces of the cheesecake. Was that you with mango in it? Oh, that's very good.
To the rose hand of dawn, to a gurgling newborn, may I be wired and awake. To a 6 a.m. fog, a hot chocolate with froth, may I be wired and awake. To hearing your best dirty joke, to some port and a smoke, to a rustling brook and a new Edward book. To the salty sea air, to each moment rare, may I be wired and awake. To a memorized face, a well-harnessed embrace, may I be wired and awake. To the soundtrack of you, to your follow-through, may I be wired and awake. To having a place to call home, to not feeling alone, to a well-worn in shoulder, to growing older. To the same I love you, to a long past I do, may I be wired and awake. Hey, yeah, yeah. to that still quiet voice, to having a choice. May I be wide and awake to my longings and dreams, to my heart's gentle screams. May I be quiet and awake to oceans of rain, to deep buried pain, to that pang in my gut when enough is enough, to reading the signs, to the end of the line. May I be quiet and awake. To the clock's constant click, to each calendar tick, may I be wide and awake to each passing milestone, to my wearying bones. May I be wide and awake to the wandering road and its unwritten code, to a moment with you, to moments too few, to the frail and finite, to the coming of night. May I be quiet and awake. Come, let's sit on this bench together, snatch the calm before stormy weather. There's children and manicured dogs and joggers with their iPods. I hope we'll always be together. Catch a train to the never, never, build ourselves a house with a veranda right around. But tomorrow is a trespass, a sin, pass through the door in a whirlwind. I would never let him in. Let's order some pina coladas and hum along with the cicadas. Let's carve out the moment that is and not what will be. 'Cause I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear. So tomorrow for today, you're not welcome round here. Come, let's sit on this bench together, collecting time and catching feathers. They drift from left to right. How life eludes, though you watch with all your might. For tomorrow is a gambling man. He's always the last to show his hand. Must we live at his command? Let's order some pina coladas and hum along with the cicadas. Let's carve out the moment that is and not what will be. 'Cause I live in fear. I don't want to live in fear. So tomorrow for today, you're not welcome round here. Come, let's sit on this bench together. Seize that day, come whatever. Please don't go away. Don't ever go away. Let's order some pina coladas and hum along with the cicadas. Let's carve out the moment that is and not what will be. 'Cause I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear. So tomorrow for today. Oh, tomorrow for today. You're not welcome round here. Oh, tomorrow, hey, hey, hey.
When I was recording my most recent album, still on? Am I still on? Yeah, okay, good. Just checking. When I was recording my most recent album, Mayfly, I was sifting through my MacBook and found a very, very old document, about 10 years old, of a song lyric that I'd written about an Elvis impersonator. And I looked at the lyric and I thought, oh, that's all right. I might use that. I ended up going away with a friend of mine that I often co-write with, and she put it to music, and I thought, oh, I quite like what she's done. So I recorded it. Anyway, I released the album and got an email shortly afterwards pointing out to me that some of the details in this song about Elvis are incorrect. I'm relieved to say the song is not about Elvis, it's about an Elvis impersonator. So it doesn't really matter if the details about Elvis are incorrect. But I'm wondering if any of you are Elvis experts and might spot them? You might. Some of you might. It's the 60s in America, and all the little boys want to be a star, just like Elvis. They're growing sideburns, hair streaked with Vaseline, hanging around on the blues scene, just like Elvis. Na da 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 da. One day some kid from some nowhere town sings the blues so well that he sounds just like Elvis. So he masters every song and every move till a local crowd will pay to see him groove just like Elvis. And every night he sings, "Are you lonesome tonight?" And he is. 'Cause no one's there to see him. They just came to see the king.
gets himself a pretty wife, has a baby girl. Now he's traveling all around the world just like Elvis. And ticket prices climb ever higher, but his sanity's hanging from a wire just like Elvis. 'Cause every night he sings, "Are you lonesome tonight?" And he is. 'Cause no one's there to see him. They just came to see the king. But who is he without the sequins and the lights? Who is he without his eagle wings? Surely more than just a tribute to just another human being. Now he and his second wife have split. He's an overweight, middle-aged addict, just like Elvis. And he plays every night to almost empty rooms, forgetting the words to most every tune, just like Elvis. Thank you. Did you spot the issues, the Elvis inconsistencies? Anyone? He was only married once, but he did have a fiancée that he split with. So that's obviously must have stayed in my head. There's another one as well that is quite famously wrong, and I didn't realise, which is that I said, and he's travelling all around the world just like Elvis, but Elvis did not leave Vegas or leave America because I should say, as a younger man, he left in the army and went to Germany. But as an artist, he never toured outside America because his manager was an illegal immigrant. And so I believe Elvis was unaware of the reasons, but kept him in Vegas residency so that his own illegal citizenship would not come up. And if you've seen the recent, there was a film called Elvis with Baz Luhrmann. That was the focus of the film, in fact, was this Tom Hanks character playing his manager and not allowing him to leave the country to tour and postponing it year after year. Anyway, the things you learn after you've done the recording. My day job is working for an organisation called the Arts Unit, which is part of the Department of Education in New South Wales. And they create performance opportunities for public school children. So they do opera house, choral concerts and instrumental concerts, and they do a big thing called the School Spectacular, which is televised. I think it might be televised here too, and things like that. And I received late last year a commission to write some songs for two-part children for a massed choral setting. And it was a festival where there'd be 4 concerts with several hundred children each night, and they'd all learn this sort of particular songs. And I thought, well, what on earth am I going to write about that children might want to sing about and that I might actually like the song? I think that was something I was fearful of too, because
there's a lot of children's choral music that's not that I want to be critical of it, because the children quite love it, but you know, there's the moon and it's white and I can see it through my window every night, la la la, loo loo loo, it's the moon, you know, that kind of thing. And I thought, and the kids actually quite like singing that stuff, but I thought I won't enjoy writing it. And so the inspiration I got, some people like Leigh are amazing at writing children's music, and that is interesting and that kids want to sing, but I'd never tried to do it before. And so I kind of delved into my own memory and wrote a song about visiting my grandmother as a child. She is currently 91 and lives in a town called Tanoni, which is about 3.5 hours north of Sydney and right near Taree, if you're familiar with Taree, and near Wingham as well, so in the Manning Valley. And visiting her as a child was always this magical experience of discovery, and I told her that I'd written this song about it, and she just said, "Oh, for goodness sakes, Rachel," because I think for her, Tanoni is the most boring, uninteresting place on earth. Even my mother, who does very little in life except stay at home and garden, said to me, you know, she was thinking about, do I go and live in Tanoni for a while to look after her elderly mother? And she said, "Oh, but Rachel, it's Tanoni, what will I do?" And I thought, I had no idea that Sydney held such excitement for you, Mum, but she doesn't want to move back to Tanoni. But anyway, for me as a child, it was beautiful and magical, and so this song is called To the Valley. And if you've read or are familiar with a book called The Valley by Di Morrissey, it's about Tanoni, although she doesn't name Tanoni, but it's about that area, and a lot of the towns and the people in the book are based on real people from that part of New South Wales.
Where the farms and river meet, Nana's house on a winter street, with its concrete back porch and wind-up hills hoist, old wind organ in the lounge, drawers of photos to be found, drinking Saxby's ginger beer as the sun disappears behind the water. To the valley I'll go, to the valley, feathered fields all aglow, in the valley, the valley. Vacant lot right down the street, knee-high grass and my itchy feet. I'll find a four-leaf clover before the day is over, then roasted pumpkin and grandma pie, fluffy sponge cake ceiling high, with strawberries and cream. I'll fall asleep and dream of it tonight. And oh, to the valley I'll go, to the valley, feathered fields all aglow, in the valley, the valley. Time is illusion, time is a thief, time waits for no one, not even me, but time stretched forever, back in those days, now it's a haze. can a good thing ever last? Wanting to grow up so fast. Be careful what you wish for. You can't open that door again. To the valley I'll go, to the valley, the valley. Feathered fields all aglow in the valley, the valley. To the valley I'll go, to the valley, the valley. Fields all aglow in the valley, the valley.
Thank you. The children enjoyed singing it. One of my choral colleagues told me that it was the kids from her school. It was their favourite song of the repertoire. 3 nights out of 4, they sounded great in rehearsal, and then always in the performance is 1 or 2 kids, usually boys, that decide that tonight is their moment to shout at the top of their lungs and hold all the notes beyond when anyone else is holding them. So that happened several nights with a very enthusiastic boys, but they were having fun, which was good. And despite that, the staff told me that the venue staff were talking on, you know how they have those comms backstage so they can talk to each other, that they were all talking about the song and how much it made them cry every night. And I thought, well, that's lovely. Despite my enthusiastic boy sopranos, the song is moving the venue staff, so there must be something.
Goodbye, now my friend. All my skies here have found scarlet ends. My heart yearns for open space, far from the stranglehold of this place. And when I am opened and laid bare, will you come and find me, meet me there? Though you miss the girl you thought you knew, well, the woman you loved just wasn't true. Alone, I can reclaim the things that I've held back for fear and shame. And when I am opened and laid bare, will you come and find me, meet me there? And though your fears run foul and thoughts confound, your world is upside down, this I hope. When your grief has stilled and every tear has dried, you'll be back here by my side when I am opened and laid bare. Will you come and find me, meet me there?
At the risk of this next song intro turning into a sermon, is anyone familiar with the issue of the great comma? Anyone ever heard that before? I believe in, I've just had a mental blank. I believe in Jesus Christ, born of the Virgin Mary, comma. What comes next? Does anyone remember? I believe in the Virgin Mary. I believe in, I've had a mental blank. I believe in Jesus Christ, born of the Virgin Mary, comma, suffered under Pontius Pilate. The foundation of so much of our Christian thinking is a creed that skips from Jesus' birth to his death and does not say one single word about what Jesus taught, how he lived, or what he did while he was alive. And if I talk to people that I know who have left the church or that are uninterested in the church, it is because the church keeps telling them how to think and what to believe about this or that. It doesn't seem to pay any attention to what we need to do in this world. And I think, and so for me, Christianity, I just think of organisations I know where I've been part of Christian organisations where you have to sign off on a creed before you're allowed to work or volunteer for them, and others where Christians and atheists and any manner of religion work side by side, feeding the poor, helping those who are genuinely in need. And when I think about how God views those people, or I think about who is following Jesus, I think it's the people that are actually doing the doing. And that somehow we've missed the point if we forget that. So there's my sermon. And this is my song about what I think faith really comes down to. It's called To the Least of These. To the homeless man on his knees, clutching his blanket, trying not to freeze. To the orphan, always alone, goes from family to family, no one of her own. There is no meaning in religion or creed that stays locked behind gates and doesn't translate into deed. 'Cause none of it matters, and none of it matters, and none of it matters to the least of these. Things once so certain, packaged and neat. Now every Sunday I'm warming the seat, 'cause I have doubted things I've been taught, and I have wondered if it all comes to naught. For there is no meaning in religion or creed that closes its eyes and walks by while a man's left to bleed. 'Cause none of it matters, and none of it matters, and none of it matters to the least of these. And none of it matters, none of it matters, no, none of it matters to the least of these. To the refugee, to the struggling teen on that street, to the lonely child, to the hungry and the weak.
to the struggling teen on the street, to the lonely child, to the hungry and the weak. None of it matters. None of it matters. None of it matters to the least of these. None of it matters. None of it matters. None of it matters to the least of these.
You know, I must add, at the risk of that previous sermon sounding a little bit too hopeless, that I do find that churches are filled with invisible people doing a lot of invisible good. It's often not the people shouting at the media, but it's always almost the least of these in the congregation that are the ones helping the least of these, which is interesting, isn't it? Final song. I'm going to do one more. Thank you so much for coming and spending your Sunday afternoon with me. It's been delightful. You can go home and have a nap after this if you want to, or a cup of tea. Thank you, Brighton and Malcolm, for hosting and organising. Thank you also, Leigh, who is like my Adelaide agent and organises for me to do bits and pieces all over the shop. Though I did buy you some sugar-coated, what are they called, macadamia nuts today. So that's priceless, really.
I carried my burden down to the river. My knuckles were white from clutching so tight for so long. And I waded in and attempted to drown it, but couldn't let go 'cause I feared for myself. Is that wrong? I need a highly skilled surgeon to cut out this burden entangled in me. And I need some life-shifting answers urgently. Tell me how to fertilize hope. Teach me the art of letting go. And tell me where fresh visions grow. Teach me the art of letting go, of letting go. Is life just a process of trying and falling, of knowing you're calling but never achieving the prize? Oh, with a red pen in hand, I will make my amendments. Deleting and shredding, is that what it takes to be wise? I need a prize-winning author to rewrite the script running round in my head, and tell her that it must be inspiring. It must place me in good stead. Tell me how to fertilize hope. Teach me the art of letting go. And tell me where fresh visions grow. Teach me the art of letting go, of letting go. Tell me how to fertilize hope. art of letting go, and tell me where fresh visions grow. Teach me the art of letting go, and lead me by still waters unknown. Teach me the art of letting go, and guide me to a place of resolve. Teach me the art of letting go, of letting go.
Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you to Leigh for coordinating, organising and sharing your journey and your musical skills and talents, and reminding us of the journey that you've had influencing South Australian people over many years. Thank you to Ron, our local radio, microphone, audio guy. He's done a fantastic job. Thank you so much for help set up and finding what didn't fit and what did fit. And thank you to Rachel. A God-given voice, some many years of training, that musical talent, and most importantly, being brave enough to be vulnerable and real. Dangerous is the woman who is real. And we've been touched, entertained and inspired and encouraged to be who we are. We can't command the piano or a crowd like you can, and yet many of us, in fact all of us, are like those invisible people living the life. So thank you so much for what you've shared with us. Rachel encouraged us. It's been a busy day. You might want to go home and have a nap. You might want to go home and have a cup of tea. Before you do leave, there is a cup of tea and coffee and some bickies out the back. Feel free to come and just share and have something before you leave. You're more than welcome. And we give thanks to God for the inspiration that God brings to us to be God's people here and now, as part of a community, as part of a journey of being wherever we are, being real and being vulnerable and being open to the Spirit. So thank you. God bless us each one. Amen.